Disappointment is growing among Russian elites that the war with Ukraine has not ended in 2024, and this has been reinforced in particular by the Ukrainian Armed Forces invasion of the Kursk region of the Russian Federation. At the same time, there is increasing talk in Russia about war fatigue, one of the reasons for which is the poor state of the economy, writes the Russian publication Meduza, citing a number of sources close to the Russian authorities. The main emotion is disappointment. We are waiting for the war to end, for the fighting to end, and fatigue has been the main feeling for a long time. We are tired of even waiting. It feels like every day you are sinking deeper and deeper. We were also waiting for some kind of lifting of sanctions in exchange for peace. Now they are acting more and more painfully, a source in the government told the publication. One of the problems that worries the Russian elites is the state of the country's economy. The publication writes that big business is already openly expressing dissatisfaction with the high key rate set by the central bank. While most companies are somehow surviving, everyone is perking up. Some are even growing, but this is happening due to cannibalization, the assets of foreign companies that have left the weak ones. But everyone understands that it definitely won't get any better, noted a Russian technologist who works with the presidential administration and consults big business. The publication noted that the interlocutors agree that hopes for a quick peace and easing of sanctions in 2024 faded after the summer invasion of the Ukrainian Armed Forces into the Kursk region, although some suggest that the war could well continue now even if this operation by the Ukrainian military has not taken place. The president likes to fight. You can feel the excitement. Why stop halfway if you can finally put the squeeze on him, says one of the sources close to the presidential administration. However, the interlocutor warns that despite this attitude of the Russian ruler Vladimir Putin, high-ranking security officials are also unhappy with his approach, saying that they insist on mobilization and a complete transition to a war footing. Several sources acknowledged that Russian officials' hopes for peace have grown stronger since Donald Trump won the US presidential election. However, now their level is not the same. The president of the Russian Federation has his own demands, the territory of 4 regions of Ukraine in full. Trump's conditions are different. It is unclear where the compromise is, said a source close to the Kremlin. Russian elites are also thinking about what will happen after the war, if it ends, how to tell people what will happen tomorrow, why it is hard now when it will become easier. However, no one knows the answer, says one of the interlocutors. Among the options for a new agenda that should return Russians to peaceful life after the possible end of the war, the Kremlin is considering the option of deeper integration of the Russian Federation and Belarus. But at the same time, the source added, the realism of such a scenario depends entirely on Alexander Lukashenko, and he clearly wants to remain the full-fledged ruler. The publication also noted that opinion polls show that the majority of Russians, even without a new agenda, support the start of negotiations, the conclusion of peace and the end of the war with Ukraine.
Los Angeles County officials announced on Thursday that the Eaton fire near Pasadena that started Tuesday night has burned more than 5,000 structures, a term that includes homes, apartment buildings, businesses, outbuildings and vehicles. To the west in Pacific Palisades, the largest of the fires burning in the LA area has destroyed over 5,300 structures. Aerial video from CABC-ABC7 Los Angeles on Thursday night showed firefighting helicopters battling the massive flames. A reporter in the CABC-ABC7 Los Angeles helicopter said the video shows the Palisades fire, and that he was flying over the Santa Monica Mountains. All of the large fires that have broken out this week in the Los Angeles area are located in a roughly 25-mile band north of downtown, spreading a sense of fear and sadness across the nation's second-largest city. Dozens of blocks were flattened to smoldering rubble in scenic Pacific Palisades. Only the outlines of homes and their chimneys remained. In Malibu, blackened palm strands were all that was left above debris where oceanfront homes once stood. At least 5 churches, a synagogue, 7 schools, 2 libraries, boutiques, bars, restaurants, banks and groceries were lost. So too were the Will Rogers Western Ranch House and Topanga Ranch Motel, local landmarks dating to the 1920s. The government has not yet released figures on the cost of the damage or specifics about how many structures burned. AccuWeather, a private company that provides data on weather and its impact, on Thursday increased its estimate of the damage and economic loss to $135 to $150 billion. Firefighters made significant gains Thursday at slowing the spread of the major fires, but containment remained far out of reach.